We grew up playing AAA minor hockey at Major Adam. I always remember seeing him. He's a little goalie, and we've been together since he passed away. And we went to school together. You know, he was an avid sports guy that you know, was involved in soccer, rugby, baseball, you know, hockey, and so that's how I knew him, the hockey. And then eventually we changed the clubs the sticks to clubs, and we golfed a lot. And we always yelled, we always got angry in the golf course and in competitive ways, and I'll always remember to the day he passed away, and so it was a very fitting now to represent such a great guy in the community. Yeah, first off, we started about, it was almost 9 years ago. This is our 8th annual, but 9 years ago when Kirk was diagnosed with leukemia, and myself and Mike Martone and a few other gentlemen, Matt Bowen, put together something really quickly because the family was back and forth to Princess Margaret. So it became a big toll on the family, and we thought, you know, can we do something quick? And the community is unbelievable here, as everybody knows. And so we quickly put together a fundraiser on the Trent Canal. I always remember we did it in 3 weeks, and we had Dan O'Toole brought a lot of it together, helped us out, did some of the commentating that day, and she was minus 36 out. And I remember my Major Bantam AAA team actually practiced outside that day to open it up. And then we had 16 teams, and everyone brought baked goods, heaters, warmers, barbecues, and it was an absolutely unbelievable day. The high of that day was minus 32, and everyone was frozen stiff. And just to see people, what they did to fix the ice and to make it all work. And Kirk didn't make it that day. He was still in the hospital and wasn't healthy enough to come out. And then we raised a lot of money that day. I can't remember how much, but we donated to the family to Columbus. We had like a Friday night get together. Kirk got out of the hospital, and then unfortunately about 7 months later passed away. And then what we've done since is we asked Ange what we could do, and basically she said, you know, take the money and let's create a hospice Peterborough, or a room at hospice. And hospice was already going, so it's near and dear to that family. And so we hopped on with Allison Casey and her group over at hospice, and we thought, let's keep this annual. But because of the weather being so unpredictable, we said, let's go inside and make it a pond hockey cross ice. So that's what we did. So this is now our 8th annual. And that day we continued we met a goal for hospice about 5 years ago, and they just opened up hospice last weekend, and we got to see Kurt Gaskell's room, which was really, really cool. He was a Flyers fan, so they're going to make it NHL looking, but it's great to see families can use it here now versus going to Princess Margaret at the latter parts of their life. So that was really cool. And then since then we've just continued to wear different hats. You know, we were CMHA, Team 55 with Dave Pogue in his group, and then just recently we're with Camp Carey, and we're really focusing on concussions with Laura Kennedy and her group over with the Docs, the GPSD Health Association. So we're working with them and trying to look at the protocol to return to play with our kids. And so that for hockey, lacrosse, rugby, soccer, you name it, it's not just for hockey. So that's where our funding's going now. And since then we've just been sort of skyrocketing. It's got big, almost bigger than we thought, and but it's all with good people, which is hats off to the Peterborough community. Yeah, it started off where it was just Kirk's buddies and it was some family, friends and that, and now it's turned into a complete anybody in the community. There's no purchase necessary. It's, you know, we have kids that wouldn't even have known Kirk, and that's how big it's grown. It's a network of Peterborough people and surrounding areas, some of the smaller hockey centers, the Norwoods, Havelocks, and Morris Duros, that have all put teams in, and even if you don't play hockey, that's has nothing to do with it. It's just, even if you don't even make it to the ice surface, there's face paint, free barbecue, there's you know, shoot the lights out for the kids. It's all about the atmosphere in the lobby, and actually seeing the young kids, the camaraderie between the young kids and the adults, and everyone's just out to have a good time. People you've seen from high school, and even if you're not from Peterborough, like the surrounding areas, like it's just a very humbling and fitting place for anybody. So this year we have Mr. Bob Gainey. For me, probably my father's, and Bob would be the icon, the hero of any Montreal Habs fan. And I know my father, Terry, was basically a huge avid fan of him. And Bob was a great fitting, which I met him through Ed Arnold. And Ed was an avid guy and was our very first captain. And Ed did the city scene and was a huge guy in the Examiner and ran charity after charity. And Ed sort of introduced me to Bob, and he said, you know, this would be a great fit for you guys. Asked Bob, then he asked me, and then we did lunch. And honestly, the day I met him, Ed took me out for lunch with Bob, and we met at this little Lakefield pub. And I walked in and shake this guy's hand. His hand, I always remember his hand sort of overlapped my hand. It was so big, like sausage fingers, and welcomed me and said, I'd love to be a part of it, tell me more. And basically I gave him some information, and before we even got to lunch, the actual eating part, he's like, this sounds phenomenal. I'm excited to work with you guys. And I was, right from then, he just made you feel so good. You know, there's a guy that walks around Montreal as the holy icon, and we have him in Peterborough here all the time. And just, Peterborough's a fascinating place to have such people that just walk around here, and they're big in the community. I remember Bobby Roode walked in here the one day, I'm like, this is the best wrestler ever, but just walks in like an average Joe. So Bob's our new captain, and I know our guys are just off the charts excited and to have this guy.